I want to provide you all with some useful tips so that you can stop getting cooked here in the finals when you solo queue, and so that you can actually stand a chance. This way you can handle business, win tournaments, rank up, and truly be happy with the individual that you see when you look into the mirror. I have a little over 30 tips that I brainstormed and compiled, well, actually 32 I think to be exact, so obviously this will be a beeferson. So do me a favor here real quick, be sure to lock in, and now that you're locked in, let's talk shop. These first several tips can be generalized as in-game strategy tips that will put you in the best position to succeed with these randoms in real time. Number one is to prioritize communication. Clear communication can drastically change the outcome of a match, so be sure to use the in-game chat feature or the quick ping system to relay important information like enemy positions, objective status, and any plans you may have to push or defend the cash out. Even simple pings like, yo, enemy right here, or yo, we need to group up, can keep your team coordinated, reducing misunderstandings and unnecessary losses. Number two would be to adapt your play style. As a solo queue player, you gotta be versatile, all right? If your team is lacking in any capacity, like for example, if there are 2 heavies already selected, then you may have to run a medium with a heal beam, right? Even if it isn't your preferred role, just having this ability to be able to switch roles on the fly based on what the team needs will make you an incredibly valuable asset, and it will overall increase your chances of winning. A sidebar to that, do know it's important to adapt to the pace that your team is playing at, all right? If your teammates are playing really aggressive, then do everything in your power to match their pace to provide support rather than just lagging behind. Or on the flip side, if they're being more cautious, slow your roll and focus on playing slow as well, or on positioning to maintain the utmost cohesion with your squad. Number 3, focus on the objectives in play. Of course, here in the finals, capturing cash and then defending the cash out is more important than racking up kills. Even if you are outgunning your opponents, failing to secure those cash outs can still lead to an L. By prioritizing the objective over the fight, you'll make sure your team stays focused on the win no matter what. Number 4, be sure to learn key map spots, all right? Understanding the layout of each map can give you a major advantage, all right? Studying the position of high ground, choke points, or paths that you could possibly create to surprise the opposition will all be vital. Additionally, knowing where to position yourself for better sight lines or quick escapes can turn the tide of a match in your favor. Number 5, you want to utilize verticality here, all right? The finals features maps with plenty of vertical elements such as rooftops, ledges, jump pads, you name it, all right? Learning how to move vertically can really help you surprise the opposition, escape sticky situations, and ultimately control the battlefield more effectively. It can also give you an edge in controlling high ground, which often is crucial when it comes to defending cash outs and things of that nature. Kind of a sidebar here, remember that certain parts of the map will provide you strategic advantages, such as high ground overlooking where cash outs may spawn, or choke points where enemies are likely to pass through. By holding these areas in particular, you can control enemy movement and give your team an upper hand in majority of fights. It also makes it a lot easier to regroup and reinforce objectives. Number 6, you want to be playing near objectives, all right? Instead of chasing down enemies across the map, try to keep close to the objective at hand, aka the cash out, all right? Being nearby allows you to quickly react if the enemy attempts to steal or contest in any capacity, and it puts you in a better position to support your team. Remember, this can be the difference between getting that W or a last-minute loss. Number 7, be sure to stick with your teammates in some capacity. Now, I want to be the first to admit this. When you're solo queuing, it can be really tempting to go off on your own accord, but it is usually safer to stay near teammates. This makes it a lot harder for the enemy to pick you off and allows for you to capitalize on your teammates' play. If you find a teammate is pushing, go with them to increase your chances of taking down the opposition and possibly wiping out the enemy. Number 8, be sure to watch for flankers and third parties in an entirety. Often when solo queuing, it can be easy to overlook the importance of watching out for flankers, but being aware of enemies trying to get behind your squad can save lives across the board. Be sure to keep an eye on areas where enemies might try to sneak through and use pings to alert your teammates. This awareness will prevent your team from being caught off guard and will allow for a fairer fight. Now, these next several tips can be summarized as more so teamwork / synergy tips, all right? Number 9, be the best shot caller that you possibly can be, okay? When it comes to solo queuing, there often is no clear leader at all. If no one is directing the team, be sure to take the initiative and make callouts like, hey, let's push left here. Let's go to this cash out. Let's go get that cash point. Even simple commands to provide direction and keep your team coordinated in some capacity can be crucial in these high pressure moments, you know? Number 10, be sure to coordinate with your randoms, right? Slightly piggybacking off of number 9, when you're solo queuing, you can't always rely on everybody to be on the same accord. So be sure to use those quick pings to synchronize pushes, to tell your squad where you're going, to object where they're going, you name it. Just by taking a little bit of time to provide simple signals, you can really help your team act cohesively and prevent anybody from getting spread out and picked off one by one. Number 11, be sure to use pings wisely, okay? It can be really easy to spam pings, but too many can overwhelm and confuse your squad. So let's be sure to be a bit more strategic here versus just pinging like a mad person, all right? Consolidate your pings down to highlighting enemy positions, objectives, key areas, things like that, but just avoid overusing them. Clear, well-timed pings are so much more effective than flooding the screen with a bunch of markers, all right? Number 12, focus fire on key targets, okay? During a fight, call out dangerous enemies such as those with powerful weapons like a heavy that's been running amok in that lobby, or something of that nature. In that instance, by focusing your team's fire on that individual, you can quickly turn the tide of a skirmish and make it so much easier to clean up the rest. Number 13, provide intel whenever you can, all right? If you find yourself getting taken out, don't just spectate silently. Do everything you can to inform your team about where the enemies are moving, if they're pushing onto objective to try to take the cash out. Just remember, even from the sidelines, you can provide valuable info that can help your team make better decisions in the moment and could possibly hold down the fort until you can spend one of those revive tokens. Number 14, be sure to revive only when it is safe, all right? Of course, reviving downed teammates can bring your team back into the fight, but you need to be careful here, all right? Only go for revives when you are sure there are no enemies nearby or when you have or can create cover. Reviving at the wrong time can turn a good situation into a disaster. Now, these next several tips can be looked at more so as mindset tips, okay? So with that being said, number 15, be patient, all right? Patience is often overlooked, but it can be a game changer here in the finals, especially when holding angles or waiting for the right moment to strike. Do not rush into every fight like a lunatic. Sometimes waiting for a few seconds will give you a much better opportunity, and it can be the difference between winning and losing that particular skirmish. Number 16, maintain a positive attitude to the best of your ability. It's super easy to get frustrated when things do not go your way here, but a positive attitude can make a huge difference. Being encouraging or just simply ignoring any negativity can really help keep the team morale up, and it can make everybody more likely to stay focused and perform better. I can never recall a time where negativity has made the team excel. If you can, good for you. Number 17, under any circumstance, do not blame teammates, all right? Blaming random teammates will not change what has already happened at all, and it usually just adds frustration to the situation. Instead, look for ways to adjust your play and improve the situation. Only focus on what you can control, like positioning, making better callouts, or just being flat out better when it comes to gun skill. Remember, you're the one that chose the solo queuing life. Don't get mad at the randoms here. Number 18, be sure to learn from every single mistake, all right? After a tough match or a tough round, take a moment to think about what went wrong and how you could have played that differently. Did you overextend? Was your positioning off? Whatever the case may be. Learning from mistakes will be the quickest way to improve and avoid repeating them in future matches. And piggybacking off of that, this gives you the opportunity to focus solely on improvement. Treat every single game as a chance to get better regardless if you win or lose. This mindset shift can make the process of solo queuing more enjoyable and productive overall. Instead of stressing over your rank, just think about how each game helps you improve. That will be your formula for success, trust and believe it. Number 19, know when to fall back, all right? Sometimes the best play is to retreat and regroup with your squad rather than fighting a losing battle. Recognize when a fight is unwinnable, and do me a favor, just fall back into a safer position to avoid unnecessary deaths, especially when you do not have any more revive tokens. This gives you the best chance possible to reset and properly prepare for the next engagement. Number 20. Do not rely on your randoms to be clutch in any capacity. When you do find yourself in that tight spot, be prepared to make plays on your own. Now, even though teamwork is crucial, don't get it twisted, Sometimes you'll need to take the initiative when others don't have the ability to. Having the confidence to make solo plays can turn a match in your favor when your team needs it the most. Do not go out there expecting your randoms to be Shroud or anybody of that nature, because 9.9 times out of 10, they aren't. Now, the next several tips on the horizon can be viewed as more tactical than anything. Number 21, flank wisely, okay? Flanking can be a powerful tactic, but it requires timing and awareness. Only go for flanks when you are sure the enemy is distracted or their focus is elsewhere. A poorly timed flank can leave you out of position, and it could make you a very easy target for enemies to pick you off or put your teammates in a terrible situation. On the other hand, a successful flank can catch the enemy team by surprise and totally turn the tide of that fight. Number 22, use your utility as intelligently as possible, if that's even a word. Grenades, traps, and other utility items are going to be best used when they have a significant impact, such as turning the tide of a fight or denying an area. Please avoid wasting your utility in situations where it will not make a difference. Instead, use your brain and save them for the moments where you can control the flow of a battle or disrupt an enemy push. Number 23, break sightlines when you need to, okay? To the best of your ability, use obstacles, walls, terrain, whatever you need to do. Make sure you do it in order to break an enemy's line of sight, especially when you were the person that was losing the gunfight. This is going to make it a lot harder for them to track you, to track your movements, and ultimately it will allow for you to reposition in a safe fashion. This notion is especially useful when you are retreating or when you need to wait for backup, as it will force enemies to reposition in order to get a clear shot, leaving them to be exposed. And the beautiful thing about the finals, you can destroy just about anything, so feel free to leave rubble in your wake in order to break that sight line. Number 24, keep an eye on the timer, especially when you are in the last minute of a round. This match timer can be a critical factor, especially when you're playing ranked cash out or something of that nature. Be sure to keep track of how much time is left and adjust your strategy accordingly. If you find time is running out, then of course you have to focus more on the cash out rather than just taking stupid fights. Or if you are defending the cash out, you have to hold it down for that final minute to secure a win before time expires. Number 25, maintain map awareness to the best of your ability. Always keep an eye on icons around the map to track enemy movements and to know what's going on with the cash outs. They will tell you all you need to know and help you stay informed about where action is happening and where you're most needed. Additionally, good map awareness allows you to anticipate where enemies could be pushing from and position yourself to where you can make the most impact and successfully defend or take that cash out. Number 26, use terrain to your advantage. Kind of like I alluded to a little bit earlier, the destructive environments in the finals means that terrain can change dynamically throughout a match and at the snap of a finger. Use this to your advantage by creating new sight lines or block enemy approaches. For example, blow up a wall to create a shortcut or use debris to make makeshift cover in the middle of a gunfight. When you are playing the finals, the terrain is your best friend. Be sure to remember that. For these last 6 tips, they can be best summarized as ways that you can adapt to the randoms that you get while solo queuing. Number 27. Be sure to communicate your intentions right off the rip. If you know you're about to make a bold play like some crazy flank, rushing an objective for the third party, something of that nature, be sure to let your teammates know beforehand. This will give them a chance to follow up or provide cover fire in some capacity. Clear communication of your intentions can turn individual plays into well-coordinated team efforts. Number 28, boost your team morale like no other. A simple nice job or yo, well played after a good play can go a long way in regards to keeping team morale high. Even when playing with randoms, these small positive reinforcement pieces can help keep spirits high and maintain a more collaborative atmosphere, which often translates to better teamwork ultimately. Number 29, do not overcommit at all, okay? It's super easy to get caught up in the moment and chase kills or dive into fights, anything of that nature, but overcommitting can leave you out of position and get you put down so fast and put your remaining 2 teammates in a terrible position. If you see that your teammates aren't following your push, it's better to back off, regroup, and see what the consensus is. Staying in sync with your team will prevent unnecessary deaths ultimately. Number 30, be sure to keep an eye out for solo opportunities. Sometimes your team will struggle to make plays or gain momentum, especially when you're solo queuing. In these cases, Be sure to look for those opportunities where you can make a solo play to turn things around, such as capturing a cash out while the enemy is distracted or while they're taking on another gunfight. That could be exactly what you all need to find your footing and handle business. Kind of piggybacking off of that, you gotta know when to take risks, okay? Risk taking is just a part of the game, but it's important to know when it's actually worth it or not. Taking a calculated risk like diving into an objective with only a few seconds left can totally catch the opposition off guard, get you to secure a cash out right before time expires. But taking unnecessary risks early in the game can put you and your team at a disadvantage, so be mindful there. Number 31. Please, please, please do everything in your power to avoid toxicity. Solo queuing can bring the worst out of people. Look, we all know this, but engaging in arguments or negativity will only distract you and hurt your team's performance. If a teammate is being toxic, mute them and focus on your own gameplay. Staying positive and focused will yield better results, even if you all don't end up winning that round. And last but not least, number 32, play for the team and not yourself, okay? It can be very tempting to focus on personal stats and things of that nature, but in a team game like the finals, what matters the most is the team's success. Prioritize plays that will help secure the win, even if it means sacrificing your own stats or taking more of a support role versus being flashy. This subtle mindset shift will make you a much more effective player when solo queuing. And folks, that is what I have for you all today. 32 absolute bangers that you can take and apply into your gameplay right away. I truly hope this was helpful in some capacity. If it wasn't, I apologize for wasting your time. But if it was, you already know what to do. And I'll catch you all in the next joint.